Well, the old facility had definitely seen better days.
So the backpacks and the jackets and the lunches and the musical instruments and the playground equipment was all stored in the hallways. So if you wanted to get from A to B, you just pretty much had to dodge whatever had fallen off of all those hooks.
Like the band would be rehearsing and it would vibrate through that beam and come, and you could hear it just clear as day in the choir room. And I'm sure it was the same going the other direction.
If the kids closed the door after recess and we'd get started doing something, all of a sudden the wind would kick up and the door would fly open and everybody's papers would go one way and, well, must be windy out there.
There were 34 buckets up in the ceiling due to a leaking roof with a map of where each bucket lay. Anytime it rained or stormed, you're just like, oh gosh, what's the impending doom?
We had a cafeteria in our basement, which was under our gym, and that kids affectionately called it a dungeon, and that's kind of what it was.
As far as electricity, we actually had the facilities gentlemen come in and take some of the bulbs out because we couldn't use our projector and the lights at the same time.
So at 6:20 in the morning, I've got students coming in and we're trying to sing, and you can literally see your breath. We had to leave our coats on. The students used to keep blankets in a closet in the back of my room so that they could wrap up in them.
The downstairs was sweltering. My room was always cold.
It was 94. 94 is not a temperature anyone could teach at.
If the kids are in a space that they feel like is run down or just tired, that's how they act.
You can't go outside and get 86% of people to agree on the color of the sky, right? And we had 86% of people agree that our schools were important in this community.
The first part of that was even just having the number of parents that we had that were heavily invested in making sure that bond got passed, even when they weren't sure if their kids' school was going to be affected by it. I mean, that's pretty powerful.
And how better to reward the community than to try to keep the bulk of your work local. So that's local architects, local construction management firms, and that just trickles down to all the trades.
When you look at the spreadsheet of the number of companies that have participated in the bond over the last 5 years, it blows you away.
That's important because those tax dollars that are paying for the projects are ultimately getting injected right back into that local economy through the local contractor who's hiring local employees. And oftentimes those employees grew up here in Boise and attended Boise schools. So they have a buy-in to the project.
So we truly went out, talked to the school about what they would like to see in their school, looked at the neighborhood, what would fit in nicely in the neighborhood.
We reached out to everyone. So we were talking to, kindergarten teachers, maintenance staff, PE coaches. We were given full access, which is amazing.
And then getting the phone calls like, okay, we're gonna meet with architects, and we're gonna meet with interior designers, and then we're gonna meet with this group and this group and this group. And being a part of it, there's something to say, this is my baby, this is, we get to own it, and the staff gets to own it because they were part of the process as well.
We believe in neighborhood schools. And one of the ways that you invite your neighborhood in to participate is give them a voice in what that looks like and how it's going to be done.
So the architect came to us and he said, tell me kind of what you want that room to look like. I gave it to him and thought, well, we'll see what happens. And then a couple weeks later when he brought the plans and he rolled them out, he just kind of sat back and smiled, and I looked at it and it matched my plan. And I said, this is my plan. And he goes, look good to me. So, that's a career dream right there when you can kind of design your own room.
It was driven from the bottom up instead of from the top down, I think, in a lot of times, which worked out really well because we got a lot of buy-in. I think we created schools that better fit the neighborhoods that they were going into.
Because it wasn't a one-time conversation. It was an ongoing checking back in, asking us questions when they came up against, oh, well, is this gonna work? They would ask us. And that made us feel very confident that, yeah, at the end of this, it's going to be money well spent.
And that was my comment, was like, could we just have the sink down low enough for the kids to reach? Because that's who it's for. It's not for me. I use it, but this is their space and it needs to be their height. And so having things that fit them and work for them makes all the difference.
By the time this new room was constructed and I moved in, I counted 26 major problems that were gone.
When we brought the kids in, we'd bring them in by the class, and they would just look around. This is for us, you know. And a lot of these kids have never had a space that is so nice, dedicated just to them.
We have a very beautiful space, a big rug where everybody can gather, and we have an island, and one side of the island has room for a cubby for each student, as well as an area to put their coat and their backpack separate from others.
But this it's so great to have. Like, it's predictable, and it's basic necessities for a learning environment. Like, we can expect heat, we can expect cool, we can expect good lighting.
So with the mics that we have built in here, I can be rehearsing, record them right now, stop, play it back, and they can hear exactly what I'm talking about that I would like them to fix, or why I keep working on this section, and they think they're doing it right, and then they hear it and they're like, oh my gosh.
Whereas now we have a space that's so inviting and engaging, and the materials that we have access to now are just unbelievable.
And I think an environment where you can be creative, that is not, you're not tripping over each other, the equipment's not constantly breaking, you're not running out of room, and you can use your imagination to, let's grow the program this way, let's grow it that way. When that's possible, kids get really excited.
And, you know, we can work anywhere, on an island, at the table, on the floor, and be successful in these multitudes of ways.
When you really boil a bond issue down, it's about the teacher and the kid. And so when you can find a way of getting the teacher what they need in a classroom to educate the kid, then it's a win.
It puts evidence to that commitment, and that's what I love about it.
As a community, we're definitely reaping the benefits of that commitment, right, from the community. We're reaping the benefits of that for years to come.
It makes teaching much more enjoyable. There are always obstacles that get in the way of teaching for every teacher, and anytime you can eliminate obstacles so that we can just do what we love and just work with kids, that's what we like.
We're really so fortunate that the community thinks that we're important enough to have a beautiful, functional space.
It feels different teaching in a space that looks nice, that works well, that fits the children that it's supposed to fit. It makes me feel like a respected teacher.